Welcome to the Predictive Playbook. This is one of the best shows I look forward to, and I'm going to look forward to it every year. It's Father's Day weekend, and you know what that means? It means it's the U.S. Open for the PGA Tour. And as you can see, I'm sitting here at Torrey Pines, and just outside San Diego, California. And I kid you not, the U.S. Open gives me goosebumps, and I have them now, and it's only 8:30 on the East Coast. I cannot wait for tomorrow morning when this tournament takes off. And nobody to have on the show that's better than Nick Borrman from WagerTalk. And before we dig into this, Nick, I first want to welcome you to the show and thank you for your time. But I want you to kind of spell out what the package is that you have available, because it is different than getting a package of my NBA plays, because that's pretty straightforward. You have a tremendous mix of betting opportunities that is also a tremendous value. So I'll let you take over from here and describe what it is.
Sure. The U.S. Open package this week is available for $49, and you can use promo code OPEN21 and get it for 50% off. So definitely a good deal. I got several matchup plays, 5 right now loaded in the package. All those are normal, 3-4% type of plays. And then I have outright leaderboard and even first round leader selections. And basically it's, 2 or 3% total on outrights split up between 4 or 5 guys. Leaderboards, I got a 5% leaderboard play loaded in the package, another 1% long shot leaderboard play, as well as first round leader, which is always fun. I love the first round leader play. It's 1%. It's a small. It's hard to get that one right, but the payouts are a lot of times better than to win the tournament payouts. So it's 1% split up between 4 or 5 guys at 0.2% each. So it's, a couple bucks on a few guys to get the week started. So definitely a different package, but a little action all throughout the week. And of course I'll have daily ads every day for individual matchups on that particular day.
And that's a lot of plays, guys. I mean, if you break it down to, like $25 with the promo code, I mean, you're getting plays that are, like $1.50. So give up one of your IPAs the next 2 days and get his package. I mean, it's as simple as that. And I know for a fact I tail his plays, and they've done very, very well. So do yourself a favor and get on board along with myself and him and enjoy the knowledge that he has. I mean, after all, he's a PGA professional himself, and I look forward to playing golf with him sometime soon. I'm sure he probably shoots, crazy numbers, but he knows the game. And that's what's important with this at Torrey Pines. I do know at Torrey Pines, Nick, that the Kikuyu rough, which I've only played one time, and that was in Florida at the Players. The grass has no strength, in my opinion. The ball just sinks right to the ground.
Yep.
I saw a video. Somebody took a soda can and put it in the rough about 3 feet into the rough, and the can disappeared. I mean, you could not even see it. So, on one thought, this is Jon Rahm's kind of home. He kind of owns this course. He's had the last 3 starts here. He's been 5th, 2nd, and 7th. His first tour victory came at Torrey Pines in 2017. He's had a ton of top 10 finishes this year, but he comes with a price tag. He definitely is not cheap. So although I like him quite a bit, I'm sure we're going to learn from you that there's some better alternatives for this event. So let's just go one by one with some of the guys that are flying on your radar.
Yeah, Rahm's I expect Rahm to play well, especially with the chip on the shoulder from the Memorial and having that thing won and taken away from him after that 3rd round. So sure he'll be ready and gearing and ready to go for this event. The matchups, the outright leaders and the DraftKings guys that are up in the 10,000 range, all those 20-1 type of guys or less. You can really, as far as DraftKings goes, and even outrights, you can really only jump on one. Of course, you can do several different DraftKings lineups, but you can only really have one of those guys in your any one given lineup. And it's hard to figure out who that's going to be. So my strategy is usually, all right, look at the top 10 guys. Who immediately am I not going to bet? And you start to throw some names right out of there, and it could be for various reasons. Maybe the course doesn't fit them. Maybe there's not in great form. So up at the top, Rahm is the guy, as you said. It just, sucks for the price tag that you got to pay for him. You're really going to have to stretch elsewhere. but like some of the other guys in that group up front, Koepka's one that's just it's harder to get a read on him. I mean, he's a major guy, of course. He's been in terrible form, right? He's missed 3 out of the last 4 cuts. Other than that, he finished runner-up at the PGA, so it's like, okay. He doesn't really have a good record at Torrey, so I'm struggling a little bit with him. Cantley coming off a win. Otherwise, he wasn't playing great before that. Finau's got a very, very good record at Torrey, but we know that he just can never close. But as far as DraftKings goes, you got to expect him there on the weekend, and that's, of course, the key there. But an outright market, it's like he can't get the win. So it's hard to bet him there, but he could be a good player matchup-wise because I fully expect him up there on the leaderboard come Sunday, and he'll be priced against some other guys that you can find some values fading against. But one guy I'll mention that if you're going up there at the top and you have to start to move down the list a little bit that I like this week is Matthew Fitzpatrick. He's available right now on DraftKings at 7,800. Which is where you're going to have to spend a lot of your time looking for value guys. And he's 65 to 1 on the outright market. He's not a long hitter, but at the U.S. Open, accuracy and avoiding bogeys is generally the recipe for success. And he's number 8 on tour in strokes gained off the tee, thanks to being ranked 14th in driving accuracy. He's also a fantastic putter, 14th in strokes gained putting this season. And he finished with another top 10 last week. He shot 66 on Sunday. And I always like the angle of how a guy finishes a tournament. To kind of carry over into that next week. So that was a great way to end that tournament. So he backdoored into another top 10. He's got 9 top 25s in 16 starts, including 5 top 10s. He has not won on the PGA Tour yet, but he does have 6 international wins. So it's not like he hasn't won before. And he's usually priced, as far as outrights go, in that 25, 30 to 1 range. So 65 to 1 on him seems like a pretty good steal this week.
Yeah, and if I dare add some of the stats, the metrics that you actually have taught me how to interpret and look at, the shots gained total, he ranks among the best, 4.2 shots gained total overall, and all of his other metrics, shots gained on approach, shots gained tee to green, shots gained off the tee, which I would think shots gained off the tee, you got to put this ball in the fairway, because if you put it in the rough, I don't even know if DeChambeau has the strength to muscle it out and even have a chance to put it on the green. But he is excellent across the board. So at 7,800, he seems really cheap.
Yeah, and I fully expect them to be there come the weekend, and that's, again, as for DraftKings, that's the name of the game, and at $7,800. There are a lot of guys you're going to spend a lot more money on to get to the weekend, so I think he's definitely a cheap play.
Yeah. Who's next on the radar?
Another guy in that range I like, hasn't been talked about lately, but he is a past U.S. Open winner, is Webb Simpson. Another guy that just has a recipe for success at this type of an event. He's 8th in driving accuracy, 13th in greens and regulation. And the stat I love the most on him, because what's the U.S. all about? It's about making pars and just getting your way through, avoiding the big numbers, is he's number 1 on tour in bogey avoidance. So it basically means he's not going out there and making, 7, 8 birdies around, but also 2, 3, 4, 5 bogeys around. He's a guy that's 2, 3, 4 birdies, maybe a bogey. He's just good at keeping away the big number and playing to the middle of the greens and keeping his game under wraps, which is a great recipe here at the U.S. Open. 9 top 25s in 14 events, just 1 missed cut, 5 top 10s. His major starts this year. His worst finish was his last one, which was tied for 30th at the PGA. But he was tied for 12th at the Masters, tied for 10th at the November Masters, and then tied for 8th last September at the U.S. Open. So his numbers are right up there with those guys in that top those top 10 odds where they're 20 to 1, and he's 55 to 1 right now on the outright market, and he's 8,700 on DraftKings.
Just writing this all down. I hope everybody else is too, because this is good stuff. And shots gained total, he's 5.44, and again, another guy that's just across the board. Yeah, I color code them, Nick, because that makes it easier for me to see, and they're all dark green.
That's good.
And dark green is good. Dark green is also like the same color as money. So that's a good call.
Good way to associate it.
Now, I have to say, one of the guys that I really don't like in this event, and he's a Texas boy, and he's really struggling off the tee, is Jordan Spieth at 10,900. I have avoidance written all over that unless you have some other information about him that would change my mind. But I think he's a guy that, I don't wish ill will on any golfer in this world, but I don't. He's a guy I don't think makes the cut.
He's kind of depends where you look at it, but I always combine both facts of what's your current form and what's your past history. At a typical course, and not every course does your past history really matter, but Torrey definitely is one where course experience and knowledge is going to help you around here. And he hasn't had a good record during the Farmers Open. He's got 6 starts, 3 missed cuts. His best finish was a tied for 19th, so that was his only top 25 finish. So it's not a good record here. He is in good form overall, but I just don't like the fact that he's coming in here to a course he's not keen on, hasn't played well at, missed the cut just this past year. But if he can keep the ball in play off the tee, you named it. That's the name of the game here this week. He might, he'll if he does that, he'll probably make the weekend. But I still don't see him, just because of the fact that he hasn't played well here, really in contention come the end of the week.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I mean, looking at his driving, by comparison, John Rahm at 11,200 is the top ranked guy, obviously the favorite.
Yep.
He gains 3.1 shots off the tee. Jordan Spieth is losing half a shot off the tee.
Yep.
And I would want to be thinking, I wonder if my ball is going to go left or it's going to go right, and no matter which direction it goes, it's going to end up in that rough, which is even for a player of your ability, it's got to be a stroke penalty. From what I've been reading and studying.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are just going to have to take wedges and get back in the fairway to really have a chance. So it's going to be penalizing for sure.
So, quickly, does that kind of disqualify Bryson because of his inability to hit fairways? I mean, he just kind of hits it as far as he can, figuring that he can get out of the rough like he did at Winged Foot. And that rough was pretty gnarly, but this is a totally different world, though. Totally different type of rough.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the thing at Winged Foot is the course is very narrow, and what his strategy was everybody's going to miss fairways there, right? Torrey's a little more forgiving as far as width off the tee, although they do have some pretty tight holes. But overall, Winged Foot's really tight off the tee. So Bryson kind of came out and said, listen, everybody's going to miss the fairway, so I'm just going to get down there further and have an advantage, which was right. Yeah. And northern rough, northern grass, when you're playing out of rough, ryegrass, bluegrass, it's thin blade stuff. The ball doesn't necessarily sit at the bottom. It's not like it's easy. It's still long, but it's not like southern grass. And this type of grass, like you said, the ball doesn't sit on top. It falls right to the bottom, and it's a whole other animal as far as hacking it back out in the fairway. And if he's not in the fairway, if he happens to find the fairways and with his length, of course he's going to have an advantage, but he doesn't find the fairways with regularity like some of the more accurate guys out there. So I think he does struggle. Well, is he good enough to make the cut? Of course he is, but I don't really truly see him there in contention come Sunday.
Yeah, one of the other things I noted here before I send you off to your next show is that the Farmers, the regular event that's hosted here every year, has a north and south course.
Yeah.
And they're not using the north course, and the south course usually plays at least a stroke and a half to 2 strokes more difficult.
Yep.
And all 4 days are going to be on this south course, which, if I'm right, Nick, is exposed more to the ocean and the winds. And I would think if the winds pick up and dry out those Poana greens that you and I play on fairly often here in the Northeast, the guys who play late in the day are going to have that bumpy type of green. So they're not going to be like pool tables necessarily that we've seen like at Kiowa or the Players Championship or any other event. So there's just so many cross currents in this. It's very confusing on how to put my DraftKings together this week, and thank God I have some models that help me, and thank God I have you. But before I let you go, is there anybody that is a sleeper in that 7,000 to 8,000 range that, or even below 7,000, that you think is a great value to make the cut?
Stu Cink. What about the old guy?
Yeah. There it is.
How do you not back him? I'm looking right now. He's 7,200 on there, and you got. I'll throw another out there is Hoffman, 7,200 as well. Great course history here. Awesome form for Hoffman. Sink. You know, the thing about this place, we know it's long, it's 7,600 yards, but also this time of year, they're not expecting a lot of rollout with the fairway. So it's going to play longer than it did at Kiowa. So you're going to need to be long here off the tee. And Stuart Sink, at 48 years young, still ranks number 29 on tour in distance. And he's number 6 in greens and regulation. His experience alone should get him through to the weekend. And he's got good finishes. He was tied for 30th at the PGA and tied for 12th at the Masters recently. So, and of course, 2 wins this year. So he's playing good in the big field events, and 180 to 1 to win and 7,200 for DraftKings is pretty damn awesome.
Oh, I'm all over that. And to conclude the show, we'd be amiss if we didn't talk about Phil. But from what I've been seeing on Twitter, it looks like he's more in a lounge chair, drinking cups with straws in it than putting clubs in his hand at the range, and that's fine. I mean, he's done something that maybe it'll take another 100 years for somebody to do. Who knows? But I would love to see it. I mean, it would be an instant movie, the life and times of Phil Mickelson, if he would pull this off. But realistically, I guess it's just too much. Is that kind of how it is, Nick?
Everybody wants Phil to do great this week, and Torrey is a place he grew up near. He's played probably more than anybody in the field at, both competitively. This is now his 30. I think his 30. This is either his 31st or his 32nd start here. He's got. Hang on, I have my notes. He's got wins, 2 wins, several top 10 finishes. Over the years, and he also played here a lot. Not in events as well. So if there's anybody that knows the course, it's him. And of course, he knows this is his last hurrah. But it's going to come down to driving for him. If he can drive the ball like he did at Kiowa, his iron game and his short game are still, second to none. So can he get in the fairway? Can he do what he did at Kiowa off the tee? If he can, he's going to be there. And he's got the nerves. He's shown now, even at 50 years old, he still knows how to close a golf tournament. So I'm hoping he's going to do well. Thursday will be certainly telling on how he gets going for the rest of the week. But he sounds like he has been there for the last 2 weeks now, really trying to get ready for this thing. So I know he wants to win it badly. And can you imagine completing the career Grand Slam at 50 years old and after 6 runner-ups, I think it is, at the U.S. Open?
Yeah, I guess Oosthuizen only has the most runner-ups in the majors. He has the Grand Slam runner-up, I think, twice over. And again, he's another guy. I don't know why he's not priced like 9,500. He seems to always be there, along with Paul Casey. Always seems to be there. But I know it's crazy to put pizza money on Phil, but I think I might put 2 pizzas on Phil just in case. Just in case. Or at least a top 10 or top 20. And I admit that this is not a sophisticated betting strategy. This is betting with my heart, just in case. But it would be pretty wild.
Yep, sometimes that's what golf is.
That's awesome. Well, anything left to say here before I let you go?
For matchup players, another good way to bet. I do have one matchup that I'm looking at this week, and that's Abraham Answer over Cameron Smith. He's currently minus 105. He's just been rock solid all year. 2 missed cuts in 20 starts, 14 top 25 finishes, currently on a run of 5 straight top 20s. He was tied for 8th at the PGA, runner-up at the Wells Fargo, and he fits the profile of the U.S. Open winner. He ranks 3rd in driving accuracy and 12th in greens and reg. And Cam Smith seems to be a little out of form right now. He was a guy I was high on a lot earlier this year, but his last 2 starts, tied for 59th at the PGA, missed the cut at the Memorial, and he's not accurate. He ranks 128th driving accuracy and 103rd in greens and regulation. I just think we're going to see Answer in the short grass a lot more this week, which should help him get to the weekend. And if Cam Smith makes it, I really don't see him. I see him as an early tee time on the weekend.
And one last question, because I'm very selfish with this. Morikawa versus Spieth. Was Spieth's terrible driving of late, unless he really got it together this last couple of weeks. I was seeing it like minus 110, minus 115 to bet Morikawa. who I think is in much better form for this event than Spieth. So I wanted to bounce that off of you to reinforce that I'm on the right track.
You are. Morikawa is number one strokes gained approach, number one tee to green, and number one greens in regulation. I mean, talk about a guy. His weakness is putting.
Wow.
So, but with small greens that Torrey has, he's going to find the playing surface there more often than the other guys, and it's probably going to neutralize that weakness as far as putting goes. But even with the weakness, I call it a weakness, putting, still got 4 wins already under his belt at such a young age, and he won earlier this year. So as long as he's hitting the ball like he always does, he's going to give himself a lot more chances, and he probably will be scrambling a lot less. And at a U.S. Open, if you're scrambling a lot less, you're going through a lot less stress.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit easier over the 4 days. So I do like Morikawa over Spieth.
Alrighty. Again, guys, get his package. Like I said, it comes out to less than like $2 a pick. It might even be less than $1 a pick if you use that promo code. And it's a great way to enjoy 4 days. You buy a pick for the same price from me. It's an NBA game that's tonight, and it's one game, and then that game's over. You have to come back and buy again on Friday, which I appreciate. But the point is that you got 4 days of great fun here, and I just cannot wait for this thing to start, Nick. And Nick will be on at 4:30 at Manny's Pub, which is our flagship show now. Where yesterday we had 6 guys on the show at the same time, and the banter and it becomes a comic relief sometimes. I forget that I'm even the host when Tony Finn gets on a roll. I mean, it's just a riot. But we also give out a lot of great information. Our picks, for the last month have been arguably almost better than our premium picks. So make sure you join, and then you can find out even more about the U.S. Open from Nick today at 4:30. So, Nick, thank you very much for being on the show. I appreciate your time. And on behalf of Sportsmemo.com and WagerTalk.com and the Predictive Playbook, may all the wins be yours.